every time. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia, and today I'm going to be going over all of the books that I read in 2024. In 2024, my goal was to read 100 books, which was really ambitious for me because I restarted my reading journey back in September of 2023, and at that point I spent maybe 10 years only reading maybe 1 to 5 books every year, and some years I didn't read any. I went from September 2023 to the end of December 2023 and I read about 25 books in that span, so I decided to challenge myself and do 100 books in 2024, and I barely made it. You're gonna see that like maybe towards the end of like December, at the end of 2024, I read a lot of novellas and short stories to get to that goal. I do not recommend because I kind of read a lot of duds in December, but that will be gone over in my December wrap up, which may or may not be up before this video. In total, I read 101 books in 2024, but I do not count one of those books because it is the Eras Tour book. I decided to list it in my Goodreads, but I don't count it. I'm looking over my stats for 2024. In total, I read 100 books, 101 books, and then in total I read 45,667 pages, and my average time to finish is about 9 days, which is pretty accurate because I am a big mood reader, so sometimes if I'm not in the mood to read a certain type of book, then I'll move on to the other one. My most top moods were adventurous, emotional, dark, intense, and mysterious, which tracks. And then, oh, and if you see me looking down, by the way, I'm looking down on my iPad to see my stats. My pace was usually about medium pace books. The average page numbers I read for books was 42% of them were 300 to 499 or 500 plus pages, which was 40%. And then of course I read majority fiction, and my top genres were romance and fantasy. The third next one is contemporary. And for format, I mainly focused on print, of course, and the rest was digital, which was usually on my Kindle. And my top two authors, which are neck and neck, is Melissa K. Rourke and Sarah J. Maas, which it tracks because I did read a lot of their books this year. And my average rating was a 4.1 star. It was a higher average rating in the beginning of the year, and then it started slowly tapering down closer to 3 stars at the end of the year. But what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna fully review every single book that I have, otherwise we're gonna be here for hours, but I'm gonna challenge myself and only tell my opinions about these books in one sentence or a few sentences, who knows, because I ramble a lot. First book I read in 2024 was Empire Storms. I was continuing my SJM journey. I was about halfway through the Throne of Glass series at the end of December 2023, and it continued on to January 2024. Empire Storms, I finished. It was a bunch of the characters coming together to fight a common cause, and I sobbed at the end of it. 5 stars. I tandem read Tower of Dawn. It was okay, boring. Followed an unlikable character, to my opinion that he's an unlikable character, but made up for it with Irene the Healer. Set in a desert area and a healing journey. 4 stars. Kingdom of Ash, painful. I sobbed at the end of it, and it was a bittersweet ending with a coming up together of politics and war. 5 stars. Court of Frost and Starlight, the Winter Christmas Special, gift exchange, nothing else happened. 4 stars. House of Earth and Blood, set in an urban fantasy, took about 200 pages to get into, but was a wild journey. 4 stars. House of Sky and Breath, continuation of the Crescent City series, not as mystery filled as the first one, but the ending gave it a 5 stars. Court of Solar Flames, a journey of an unlikable character who lashes out at people because she's hurt. Once you see her inner workings, I knew that I would love her. 5 stars. First Magnolia Parks in the book in the Magnolia Parks universe. Gossip Girl, toxic, cheating trope, but put it in London. Addicted. Powerless, make it Hunger Games, put a lot of emphasis on the romance, and the guy falls first and falls harder. And the ratings for Magnolia Parks was 4 stars, and Powerless was also 4 stars. Daisy Hates, a part of the Magnolia Parks universe. Brother is a gang lord art thief, and she wants to be a doctor. Kind of an oxymoron. 4 stars. If We Were Villains, dark academia, set it in a prestigious art college with a bunch of characters speaking in Shakespeare line. Possibly pretentious, but heavy on the mystery, an amazing ending. 5 stars. Counting the Cost, if you want to see what was behind 19 Kids and Counting from the kids' perspective, I rated it earlier 4 stars, but I decided to take away the rating because I don't want to rate memoirs. Magnolia Parks, A Long Way Home, painful ending, but therapy is centered and I start loving the characters. 4 stars. Crooked Kingdom, part of the Six of Crows duology, terrific ending, character growth, falling in love with characters, I love the world and such an intricate universe. 5 stars. Serpent in the Wings of Night, by Carissa Broadbent. My reintroduction to the vampire world after Twilight. Grittier, a fun, trial-based plot, and a love story with a human being competing with the rest of the vampires. 4 stars. 6 Quartz Roses, one of my favorite novellas, made you believe in a love story within 200 pages. 5 stars. One Dark Window, a tarot card-based magic system with a nightmare in her head that speaks to her, and it's set in a world where it's a small village where it's dark and you are in an eerie atmosphere in a forest vibe. 4 stars. Ashes in the Star Cursed King, okay sequel. It felt dragged a little bit in the middle, and I felt the love story kind of tapered out a bit. 4 star. Flawless, first book in the Chestnut Spring series. Grown man who is in his 30s requiring a babysitter to act right in public. 3 stars. Trying to load Goodreads is a nightmare. This is ridiculous. 2 Twisted Crowns. Wonderful conclusion to a duology, added more perspectives, and another love story that I honestly think I prefer over the original love story. 5 stars. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Despite being called Happy Place, such a sad story that examines the power of friendship and what happens when you grow from the people that you were before when you met, and whether or not you want to strengthen those friendships and that relationship. 5 stars. Heartless Hunter or the Crimson Moth. Heartless Hunter or the Crimson Moth. Cat and mouse game following a witch and a witch hunter. The witch is the Crimson Moth by night, and she goes around freeing witches that he is trying to imprison. 4 stars. When the Mood Hatch fell completely flat for me, and the world had so much potential, but the character FMC was a detriment, and it didn't need to be 700 plus pages long. 3 stars. Say You Swear kept me addicted throughout the whole entire book, but think about every single trope and trauma and Wattpad situation that you could give into a romance book, throw it into one big blender, and you have Say You Swear. 3 stars. Spark of the Everflame reminds me of Demigods from Percy Jackson, following a healer who lives in the human world but has a prejudice against the descendants who are half god, half humans, and ends up having to be the healer once her mom disappears. 4 stars. Glow of the Everflame, second book in the Kindred's Curse saga. Loved it. Love the found family. Amazing representation for the male. He falls first and falls harder, but the FMC becomes more insufferable because of the choices that she makes. 4 stars. Heartless, if you love Alice in Wonderland, if you love the magic and the chaos of the world of Alice in Wonderland, read this book, but it's from the Queen of Hearts perspective. 4 stars. Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, part of the Last Hour series. Do not read this unless you read the Infernal Devices first, following the descendants of the characters from Infernal Devices, introducing another love triangle. 5 stars. Never Lie by Frida McFadden. What happens when a psychiatrist disappears and then this couple moves into the house after she disappears and finds the mystery of her disappearance? 4 stars. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Age gap romance, but done right, and set in a farm, but with a doctor comes from a unloving family and finds a love of her own in a small town, and has to make a decision on whether or not she needs to sacrifice things that she thought in her world in order to continue with this romance. 5 stars. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Amazing anxiety representation from a male perspective, and an amazing twist on a relationship where the female is the one who has to make space for the male in order to work with his anxiety. 5 stars. The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. Third book in the Housemaid series. Didn't need to be added. Female main character who goes from the city to live her suburban life. 4 stars. Just for the Suburb by Abby Jimenez. If he wanted to, he would. 5 stars. The Cruel Prince, bully romance in a fairy world where it's darker and also reminds me of Grimm fairy tales, and not everything is as it seems. 4 stars. The Wicked King, lots and lots of betrayal. Don't know if I'm still rooting for this couple. 4 stars. Guild, a part of the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. This book could have been a novella and very traumatic. Check your trigger warnings, especially for the ending. 3 stars. Daughter of No Worlds, following a girl who has sort of elemental magic but is a slave and needs to escape, following her through her journey on self-discovery and growth while trying to figure out a way to rescue the people that she left. While we have a golden retriever MMC. 4 stars. Queen of Nothing, perfect ending to the trilogy of the Folk of the Air series, more betrayal, and then easily forgiving. 4 stars. Powerful, the novella in the Powerless trilogy, makes you see the perspective of someone who wasn't in the trials while Pei was competing. Heartbreaking. 4 stars. Glint, the second book in the Plated Prisoner series, an expansion of the world. What I think is a truly first book of the series. Meet a lot more characters, found family, amazing. 4 stars. Gleam, third book in the Plated Prisoner series, series. We follow Aren as she grows from her trauma and grows from learning how to mentally leave her abusive relationship while growing into her own individual powers. 4 stars. Funny story by Emily Henry, librarian who is reeling from being left in the dirt by her ex-fiance and moving in with a Nick from New Girl male main character and trying to find her own life in Michigan. 5 stars. Reckless, the second book in the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts, an okay sequel. Suffering from the second book syndrome, they're running around the desert chasing after each other for 3/4 of the book. 4 stars. The Lady of Darkness series, following an assassin who is a part of the Wraiths. Chunky writing, but I love the world. 3 stars. Red Rising, follow a character who lives in a color-based society where every single tier separates from the have and the have-nots, and a character who follows traumatic emotional events and ends up joining the rebellion to break down the higher tiers. 5 stars. What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, one of my most disappointing reads of the year. Wonderful elements of Egyptian history, the setting of Cairo, with a terrible FMC, a boring male main character, and a boring plot that has nothing happening for majority of the book until 50 pages where all the action springs up out of nowhere. 2 stars. Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, following a powerful journey of healing after grief and also while maintaining a relationship that's been going through the trenches for the past couple of books and maintaining trust in the person you love while you're trying to heal from a grief. 5 stars. Lady of Shadows, the second book in the Lady of Darkness series, an expansion of the world. Fae, following different elementals of Fae, similar to Throne of Glass, but starts getting its own footing. 4 stars. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, follows a podcaster named Alex, runs into a character who states that they want to share their life story on her podcast, but has an ending that will blow your mind. That will make you wonder who really is telling the truth from their perspectives. 4 stars. Quicksilver by Callie Hart, one of my most favorite reads of the year. Fast-paced, fae, alchemy, and an MMC with a dirty mouth. Lady of Ashes, the third book in the Lady of Darkness series, more perspectives included. You start caring about the characters more. 4 stars. Lady of Embers and Lady of Starfire, both continue on the story of Lady of Darkness, the conclusion of a war, but starts throwing out random stuff at you at the end. Both 4 stars. A Touch of Golden Madness by Kayla DeVore, a part of the Celestials of Arcadia series. Such a unique world with a unique magic system, and one of my favorite reads of the year because of all the twists and turns and the plot twist. 4 stars. Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stasia Stark, first book in the Kingdom of Lies series, follows a girl who has to run away because she's not allowed to have powers and runs into a character who is very Lorcan-esque and reminds me of the journey of Lorcan and Elide in Throne of Glass. 4 stars. Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole, dark fantasy with a badass female main character who is 1,000 years old and is not a damsel in distress, and a MMC who'll crawl over the world for her. 4 star. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides follows a character who is a psychiatrist who wants to examine the story of a woman who is an artist in New York and ends up murdering her husband and wants to figure out why she murdered her husband, with a twist ending. Boring in the middle, but the twist ending made for it. So 4 stars. Reign of Shadows and Endings, dark fantasy where it's a different take on the Fae worlds, where legacies are the more powerful beings and uses Faes as their slaves. 5 stars. Storm of Secrets and Sorrows, number 2 book in Legacy series. Absolutely wonderful found family, but still really dark, and you're not rooting for any of the main characters, but love the side characters. Tessa is fighting for her life. 5 stars. Darkness of Light series by Stacey Marie Brown, a part of the Darkness series that is before the Savage Land series. Can't tell you anything about this book. I don't really remember the plot. Insta love, that's it. 3 stars. Meadow Slinger by Rachel Schneider, plot twist at the end. I love that it was set on the water and it was very pirate based, but no pirates, and it was very unique. 4 stars. Chain of Iron, the second book in the Last Hour series, even more angst and trauma, and you don't know who to root for because you want everyone to just be happy. 5 stars. A Kingdom This Cursed and Empty, number 2 in the Kingdom of Lies series. Starting to fall flat a little bit, trying to venture away from the original plot of the story, and now introducing a lot of kingdoms and kings and queens and a bigger war at hand. 4 stars. Dark Place by Gillian Flynn examines what happens when a family is set in a small town and has nothing better to do but murdering people. 3 stars. Worthy of Fate, following a forbidden fated mate trope with a girl who is marked by the gods and has to compete in trials and meets her fated mate, but despite it being forbidden, they just can't stay away from each other. 4 stars. Keep It in the Family by John Mars. A sick, twisted family, but I couldn't put it down. 4 stars. Hollow Heathens, a part of the Tales of Weeping Hollow by Nicole Fiorina. Absolutely amazing, atmospheric, perfect for spooky season with a love story, but a little bit too much of the love story. I wanted to know more about the world, and I heard the second book is better. 4 stars. Pen Pal by Dathan Arbach follows different creepypastas that were originally posted on Reddit. Such a lengthy story with a very unsatisfying ending in each of the creepypastas. A little creepy feeling here and there, but not worth it. 2 stars. Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance, 3rd book in the Legacy series. Lots of character development and a redemption arc that I've been waiting for 2 books, but with an ending that left my jaw dropping. I can't wait for the 4th book to come out. 5 stars. Across the Dark Sails, the prequels to Beneath the Black Sails series by Claire Sager. I'm trying to read this before I move on to Kiss of Iron. A girl who runs away from her family because she doesn't want what they are trying to give her, a arranged marriage. So instead, she runs away and elopes with her best friend, and then realizes maybe they're not as compatible as she thinks they were while being on a pirate ship. 3 stars. Phantasma. Take Caraval, but make it adult with spice and a deeper romance, and the trials you have to go through is very reminiscent of Saw. 4 stars. Bound by Fate by Anne Cottle, 2nd book in the Realms of Peril series. Disappointing 2nd book syndrome. There's an added perspective in here that I did not need to know about, and I did not see the purpose for. Very lengthy while keeping the main character separated. 4 stars. The X-Hex by Aaron Sterling. Take practical magic plus the humor of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, also the small town feel of Gilmore Girls, and set it in spooky season with magic. You've got the perfect combination. But I wish the love story was developed more. Also, the individual problems that were just glanced over and never talked about again, with a very quick ending. 3 stars. Blood and Steel by Helen Scher. Take a female main character who just wants to join the ranks and fight for her country. Females are not allowed to take up arms, and because of the fact that she proves herself to the king, ends up being able to train with the Legends of Thesmar. 4 stars. Bunny by Mona Awad. I still don't know what to think about this book. Think of if you put the Heathers in college, but make it horror. 4 stars. The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. A FMC who wants to visit her childhood favorite author's home because he's running a contest that is going to give away 1 copy of his last book, but make it Willy Wonka-esque and throw in a lot of insufferable characters, a boring character dynamic, incredibly inappropriate relationships. 2 stars. The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. The horrors of online dating, thinking that you found the one, only to discover that he's not and has a mysterious past. 4 stars. Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Scher. A part of the Mortal Enemies to Mortal Lovers? What? A part of the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers series. This one is a part of the Legends of Thesmar series where it follows a different character and follows younger Wilder, and it shows their backstory, introduces one of their characters' love story. I highly suggest reading this before the 2nd book in the Legends of Thesmar series because it introduces a character that will come into play later on. City of Gods and Monsters, a part of the House of Devils series by Kayla Edwards, set in an urban fantasy with a bounty hunter who uses auras to catch his bounties and finds a bounty on the human named Loren, and finds that she's trying to be hunted by every single bounty hunter in the city and wants to become her bodyguard. 4 stars. Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, the last book in the Last Hours trilogy. Wonderful ending. Kind of dragged on a bit for the last 200 pages because the ending just took forever to get there. With an extra plot didn't need to be there. 4 stars. A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. Very atmospheric, perfect for winter, set in a rainy, crumbling manor that hires a college student to be the architecture for it. Seems fishy and is very dark with the fairy story. 4 stars. Enna Holidays by Christina Lauren. Groundhog Day, set in a Christmas setting with a bunch of her family and their family's friends, and she has a crush on her childhood best friend, but everything starts going wrong and she needs to learn a lesson with every single day that restarts. 3 stars. Cruel Winter with You, a part of the Under the Mistletoe novellas, follows a friends to lovers dynamic where the male that she's interested in is her best friend's little brother. The little brother has been in love with her since they were kids. He comes off really strong, but one of the better written novellas. 3 stars. Spectacular, the holiday novella of Caraval. Very reminiscent to A Court of Frost and Starlight. Doesn't add anything to the plot, just a sweet little holiday moment. 3 stars. The Exception to the Rule, a part of the Improbable Meet Cute novellas that came out earlier this year. Another 5-star novella, sweet, told through stories of emails, and it's very similar to You've Got Mail. No third act conflict. 5 stars. The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore, a part of the Dream Harbor series. Female main character was insufferable. She was annoying majority of the time. Typical rich girl who wants to strike it on her own but doesn't want anybody's help, but clearly needs help when she's out of her element. Falls in love with a character that she keeps describing as a Clark Kent-esque, and insta love. Very, very insta love. Half of the book is just plain smut. 3 stars. All Systems Red, first book in the Murderbot Diaries novellas. Wonderful science fiction that is told from the perspective of a robot who just doesn't want to deal with anything and just doesn't care besides wanting to watch its favorite series. 4 stars. Merry Ever After, another book that is a part of the Under the Mistletoe novellas. Incredibly lusty and nothing happens at all. 2 stars. All by My Elf, another book in the Under the Mistletoe collection, is following around a character who has to drive around a wiener vehicle. Too many wiener jokes and a smut inside the wiener van. 2 stars. Worst Wingman Ever, very sweet but can't really tell you anything memorable about it. 3 stars. How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, incredibly cheesy. There's too many sexual innuendos in this book. It's 500 pages for a Christmas romance book, and with a questionable scene that involves a candy cane. 2 stars. My December Darling, very cute, set in a coastal town with a hard exterior character, but the male main character wants to chip away at her defenses. 4 stars. Rereading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, just as magical as I remember it. 5 stars. And the last book I read in 2024 was Vows and Ruins, the second book in the Legends of the SMR series. Very, very smutty. It's literally a spice scene every other chapter. Unnecessary, but the character grows and the plot gets explained more at the end of the book. 4 stars. Thank you for watching and sitting through all this like little reviews that I have for it. I hope it didn't take that long because I tried my best not to ramble on. Knowing how I am, I just want to tell the plot of the story and just want to continue talking about it best to my knowledge. Pretty surprising to me that I was able to remember a lot of the feelings I had for each one of these books, except for obviously the ones that are very unmemorable. Let me know in the comments below if you read any of the books that I talked about and what your opinions are too. Let me know if you reach all of your Goodreads goals, or if you didn't record them at all, your personal reading goals of whether you had goals to read more different genres, whether you wanted to read more in 2024, and I hope you have a better reading year in 2025, and I can't wait to see what other books that I read in 2025 and how much more I read. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming along with me through this journey. If you want more like this, like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Even if you tried, you wouldn't